going for a walk to the doctor's. I have an appointment, that's not just a landmark I've picked for a destination. I'm not going there to be doctored. I already know what my problem is. I'm going because I need advocacy. I need support and assistance to get out of the situation I'm in. So I'm going to pretend to be a pawn in a game whilst playing a different game a few levels above. I don't know what that's going to look like, but we shall find out. Basically, I just need to be put in a space where I will be left the fuck alone. Where no human has any right, any access, presumed or otherwise, to disturb my peace and come into the space that I am inhabiting at any moment without my knowledge. That doesn't seem like too much to ask for, but circumstances haven't been reflective of what I know to be true about basic human rights. Because there's a supply and demand for sanctuary. A big deficit, which doesn't make sense if you figure that there are more empty properties, buildings in this country than there are people that need them. But so you've got the people and you've got the government, right? And in between there are many third-party organisations. And now you've got more third-party organisations coming into the loop between the third-party organisations and the humans, i.e. the councils, the government departments, housing in this country. So many people are getting paid so much money to neglect and abuse other humans whilst pretending that they're taking care of an issue which is prevalent. And so many humans are being forced, and I say that, I will acknowledge that we all have choice in this life. But if you had the choice between living on the streets, you know, eating out of dustbins, making a shop doorway your home for the night, or a house, what are you going to choose? Eh? Because even I'm a stubborn human being. I love freedom. Even I succumbed to the latter, because this is what I'm saying, right? It's not just a house. And one thing I've learned, it's not about house anyway, it's about home, right? That's why it's called homeless. That's what they're trying to insinuate. Get out there because you serve no useful function. That sounds very familiar throughout history. So in the name of self-care, I had to enter into a process which I already knew was a foregone conclusion in terms of how easy it would be for me to reach and hold vibration of peace and to be rested within that without being disturbed. I already knew because I've seen the pattern, and this is just coding. It's just a robotic function in a sickly machine, and we all know. And it's cool, but it's actually, is it? No, it's not. It's not. I can testify because I've lived it. It wasn't cool at the time. It will never be cool for humans to be kept in bondage and told that it's freedom. It will never be okay to contravene universal law and tell another human what they have to do, what they can do, or punish them if they go against the rules. It's not okay that there aren't more spaces for humans to just be and unfold and shatter into a billion pieces without anybody saying, excuse me, what do you think you're doing in our house? It's not okay. It's not okay. But a man with a set of keys can open the front door of a house, go wherever he wants, disturb whoever he wants, despite the fact that they might be in prayer, just because he might not recognize prayer or understand that we are all so unique. The generalization, homogenization of any of the industry, but mostly the industry that pretends to care. I've been threatened 3 times. Not threatened, it wouldn't be seen as a threat. It was just a statement of fact to allude to one particular sentence in the tenancy agreement which says if you do not pay the service charge you will be evicted. You don't get a say in that. But that isn't what I was told on the day that I signed up for the house. I was told it's best you pay the service charge because if you don't then we won't help you get a place of your own. But now it's if you don't pay this £80 a month, which for some people, most people, that's like about a quarter to a third of the money that they receive if you're just on basic universal credit. But the point is, these places are set up to yeah, they're not going to like me talking about this. well, these places are set up to attract, to trap, to gather as many people with as many vulnerabilities as possible. So the more issues you have, the more likely you'll be getting more money. When I was in Doncaster, there was a man, because of his mental health diagnoses, they were receiving £2,200 a month for him to be there. Now that man, he was a good man, surrounded by badness all his life, right? And he just stood as a good man, and he needed to be away from it because his heart was too kind. So he kept asking them to get him referred to be put in a bungalow. He was old enough, he fitted all the criteria, and they kept saying they sent the forms off and they did not. Oh, is that anything to do with the £2,200 easy money that they are getting, or? Well, he got evicted for smashing up the room because he was angry, and I left not long after that. I left the keys in the house and the door open, and my 2 friends who were living on the streets the night before in that house. I'm prepared to hold anybody accountable if it forces, creates, catalyzes real change. Because anything short of that is not acceptable. It's enough. Humans are sensitive little creatures, rightly so. Such a gift bestowed on us so that we can fully experience the whole spectrum of this life thing, but there's an energy that's prevalent in this world. Well, it used to be relevant, right? It's just dying out, boring. And it works through people's ignorance and apathy. It works when people's hearts are shut off. And coincidentally, the world that we're all primed for and born into, that old way, it's like a big spooky nightmare that presents itself as inescapable. So there's all these units of consciousness just running around like little pinballs made of fearful static. Oh, and then along comes the hero, the healthcare service. Oh, thank you, please. Oh, what do you mean you're gonna knock me off and put me on 8 different types of medications? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh God, whatever would we do? Clap for the National Health Service. That's not cynicism in my voice. Oh, fuck. But the future is here because we are the future, and the future is clearing its throat by the light of the one true God. So I don't know whether they've got a box for that on the form. I'm probably gonna have to fill in at the doctor's. So I might just tick no to whatever the fuck the question is. When I was living in Doncaster, I went to the doctors. The best they could offer me is talking therapy, and it's like I'm fed up of talking about it because nobody's listening, obviously, because nothing's changed. And this is a micro to macro, as within so without thing, you know. I don't expect preferential treatment, special treatment. I understand that the system isn't failing. It works very well. It's just that people don't really understand what it's supposed to do. So they can't see that it's doing what it's supposed to do. The system, I mean, even, like, I'm bored of saying it. I'm definitely bored of battling against it. Because, as far as I'm concerned, life's about meeting in the middle. But you can only meet in the middle through soul, through heart. I mean, yeah, mind, but I'm not here to logically point out the nonsense, because logically, common sense dictates it's fairly obvious. Well, it is to me. And if it's not obvious to other people, how am I going to explain that? Hey, everyone, it's all bullshit. And then everyone's like, oh, well, now you put it like that, because I've never really thought about it like that. Awakenings. I usually give healthcare advice to the doctors in my appointments. Put it like that. And you can see there, it's like if you do logically point something out, then it can't be seen to be false. And when you do that, you can just, for a moment, you actually connect with the heart of a human, and you're not speaking to a doctored up big pharma, you know, them Masons. Degrees, how many degrees? Yeah. But they're not allowed. Well, doctor, that's the one when you can get away with being human. It's part of it. But police, for example, they're not allowed to sit in that mode for too long. They've got a lot of, you know, the risk of them getting sacked after a sustained period of compassion, it's probably quite high. So I don't even know fully why I'm going to the doctors right now. And I'll find out when I get there, when I experience and witness whatever unfolds. But see, if this was the weather, yeah, every day, then why would I be concerned with being what people would call homeless, being houseless? If it's nice, if it's pleasant to be outside, being homeless is just like being on holiday, which is called freedom. Add to that, every time you have a house, every time you belong to a house, then all the contents of the house, the possessions, you also belong to them as well. You have a responsibility to those things. That's why they can get dispossessed. Which is actually a blessing, it's just seen as a curse. Like if you don't pay your bills, you are rewarded by having your material possessions offloaded from you. Yeah. Because everything's backwards. So basically I'm saying, I don't really care what any of these people, allegedly, have got to say about anything, because I can't trust the reasoning that they are using at all. Brain trained to the maximum. So, I also don't want to be beholden to these people in any way. I don't want these people, and it's all one energy. It's all a big neo-Nazi communist, spy on your neighbours, local people, intruder alert. I'm not interested in that. I've seen it. I wore the t-shirt until the t-shirt got ripped off my back and eaten by a rabid seagull. So, I don't know, I get lost in metaphors sometimes. Also, I've got to go now because I need to check Google Maps because I don't have data and I don't really know where the doctor's is. I have screenshotted photograph. Okay, well, thank you for walking with me. I bet you didn't even move an inch, did you? But you understand. All right. Bless.